Welcome to Deep River Farm. This morning we're going to talk a little bit about your garden soil and what you're looking for in the garden soil. You got four types of soil. You got one is loamy, one is clay, one is sandy, and one is silt. First of all, you have to determine what type you have, and that will determine how you plan to grow and what you need to mix in it to make it work, and so forth. Now, mostly around where I live, we have red clay. Now that stuff is something else to grow in. A lot of people that have moved here that from say down east of North Carolina, they've been used to that sandy soil. It could rain 4 inches and 3 hours later they can plow a garden. Well, that's not necessarily the case here where we live. First thing you need to look for is to determine what your pH balance is. The ideal pH balance is going to be between 6.8 and 7. So you need to kind of keep in that range. Now, some plants, like tomatoes, they prefer a more acidic type soil. They thrive in that. Cucumbers like a tiny bit of acidity. Squash do as well. So if you just a slightly under a neutral, you'll be fine. But neutral pH is a 7, and that divides it between an acidic level and an alkaline level. You wanna test your soil and just see what you got. You know, some people planting in loamy ground, you know, that stuff's not too good. Clay will hold water, especially in the hard pan. Let me explain what the hard pan is. I want you to picture your tiller. You know, you got your tines, and that's what tears the dirt up going through the ground. Got these old flies out here. And your tiller's only going to dig down so deep, usually 8 inches, 10 inches at tops. Doesn't matter if you got a front tying tiller or a rear tying. You're only going to pull down so deep. But if you're plowing across the ground with your tiller or your tractor, you know, you're going to be at the same depth all the way across. Well, everything on top of that depth, of the deepest part you're going to be, is going to be tilled up. It's going to be just churned up into like a powder form. You know, if you go over it enough, it's going to look like powder. But down there where everything's scooped up off of those tines and off of those plows, you got that steady ground level underneath as hard as a brick. That's called the hard pan. Now, if you have a lot of rain, water will stand on the hard pan. Well, what happens to your roots and stuff when your water's standing in your garden? As it fills up from that hard pan and the water level standing there, you can get root rot. You'll have a big problem. Your plants will be flooded. They'll die because of overwatering, being underwater. If you have this kind of situation, you might need to consider using raised beds. Now, as far as your soil goes, you're going to need to find out what your pH balance is, and that's your potential hydrogen. That's what the pH stands for, potential hydrogen. So you need to know that. My garden at my house that I've been growing in, I used to have in the ground. And we're prone to get a lot of rain from hurricanes. We don't get so much of the wind most of the time. Sometimes we do now. I've had my roof ripped off twice from it, 200 or 300 shingles at a time. But we tend to get a lot of rain. And I found that growing in the in-ground garden, I got flooded. I don't know how many times. One time I planted 4 times in 1 year, and it got flooded 4 times from 2 hurricanes and a lot of heavy rain, and the ground was just saturated, so the water table was way up anyway. And so it was a complete washout that year. So I went to raised beds, and I have 23 raised beds. Now they're all connected into a horseshoe shape, and that's done on purpose so that I can go in one way and I can work everything from in the middle and then work around the outside. But anyway, you want to find out your pH. You want to make sure you got good drainage. If you don't have good drainage, you're going to have a big problem. You're going to have a lot of water standing after it rains, and you can't get rid of it, and it's detrimental to your plants. If you have that situation, you may want to consider going to raised beds. The raised beds, you're going to set 12 to 18 inches off of the ground as it is, so that water's got to go down to the ground. And then if you're going to have standing water anywhere, look out, it's still got to build itself up. So something you may want to consider. If your soil's bad, depending on what you're missing, you know, most of the time people's missing calcium or something like that, and that's something that you can add to the soil that a simple soil test will tell you. And you can just get a sample of your soil, and you can take it and contact your local ag extension office. If they don't do the test, they tell you who can, and that'll give you a good idea of what you're looking at right off the bat. So if you've got poor soil, you'll know how to treat it, and you can treat it several ways. And we're going to do a video on improving your soil and stuff like that that'll follow this video, and that way you'll have an idea of what to do. But the main thing to start out with is know what kind of soil you have, know what the pH balance is, and know what your soil is lacking. So that's a very important step. And once you get all that determined, you'll know how to treat it, whether you got too much acid in the soil that you'll need to treat with lime, or you're calcium deficient, or magnesium deficient, or whatever it may be. But you know, you can't just come out to your backyard and till it up and throw seeds in the ground and expect something to grow. It may come out of the ground and it may grow up to a plant and you not get much. But if you'll find out a little bit of history on your ground to start with, it'll help you a tremendous amount. I appreciate you joining us today on Deep River Farm, and I hope these videos are beneficial to you. We're trying to set these up so if anybody does any homeschooling type stuff, they will be able to tune into our channel and use our channel for educational purposes. That's what we've set this thing up for. So I hope everybody can learn a little something from it, and I appreciate you joining us. Hope you have a blessed day.